Welcome to the July 14th, 2025 meeting of the Easton Planning and Zoning Board. This meeting will be held remote via Zoom, so I will read the procedures for remote participation. Attendance by planning board members will be remote and shall count toward quorum. This meeting will be broadcast live and recorded on ECAT. To use Zoom, you will need to use the link on the agenda or download the Zoom application and create an account. You'll need the webinar ID to join by phone only. While conducting remote meetings, we'll endeavor to keep meeting operations as close to standard procedures as possible. However, use of the remote platform will necessitate some additional meeting protocols. While the board members or commissioners and applicants will be on video and audio, public participants invited to speak by the chair will be by video or audio. Public participants joining by Zoom will be muted and with no video feed from them. Public lines will be muted throughout the meeting. For general meetings, not hearings, and only for items under which the chair solicits public comment, members of the public participating in the Zoom meeting may submit a written question via text chat, provided they include their full name and address for the record. Members of the viewing public viewing the meeting on ECAT may submit questions in writing via email to dped@easton.ma.us. The chair reserves the right to respond to questions during the live meeting, but may limit the time for such activities. Any questions not addressed in the meeting may be answered afterwards via email and will be incorporated into the minutes of the meeting for the public record. All votes will be by roll call. For public hearings during the public testimony portion of the meeting, members of the public joining via Zoom may be recognized by using the raise hand function. If you're joining only by phone, you can press *9 to raise your hand. When starting testimony, please state your name and address for the record. The chair reserves the right to designate a specific point of the hearing at which testimony may be offered, the duration of the comment period, and the number of individuals permitted to speak. As in any public hearing, testimony offered must be related to the hearing being held. The chair reserves the right to end testimony for anyone who abuses this or the meeting platform. When all business indicated on the agenda has been completed, the members will vote to adjourn. All participants will be disconnected at that time. To start tonight's meeting, we'll do a roll call. Wolf.
Present.
Weeks.
Here.
Kidd.
Here.
And Stetson is here as well. All right, our first matter is the continued public hearing at 95 Union Street. There was a request for a continuance on this one. Do I have a motion?
Motion to continue 95 Union Street until August 11th. Wolf.
Second, Kidd.
Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none. Kidd.
Aye.
Weeks.
Aye.
Wolf.
Aye.
Stetson's an aye as well. All right, moving on to the next one. We have a public hearing on 290 Turnpike Street, special permit, planned business development, and site plan approval.
Do you need me to read you in?
Yes, Mickey, please.
All right. Just one sec. I just lost the space. I'm sorry.
No problem.
Okay. The Easton and Town of Easton notice of public hearing. The Easton Planning and Zoning Board will hold a public hearing on Monday, July 14th at 6:30 p.m. Remotely over Zoom on the application received from Alexide Turnpike Street LLC for a special permit planned business development under Easton Town Code, Chapter 235, Zoning 235-56, special permits and 235-34, and Appendix A-1. Table of Use Regulations E, parentheses 13, planned business development to allow an additional building located at 290 Turnpike Street, Easton, Mass. Assessors Map 47U, Lot 50. The agenda will need to be posted at least 48 hours in advance of the meeting and will include the virtual meeting link. A copy of the application and plan may be viewed on the town's website. This notice is also available at masspublicnotices.org. Those who cannot attend the hearing and wish to submit written testimony for the record may do so by sending an email with the subject line item as referenced as this agenda to dped@easton.ma.us. If such testimony is not received by 10 a.m. the day of the hearing, the board may not have sufficient time to consider it. Written testimony should include your full name and address. Anonymous written comments may not be accorded the same weight as testimony from identifiable sources. Robert Stetson, Chair, 6/26/2025 and 7/3/2025.
You, Mickey. All right. It looks like you've promoted everyone. If they could come off mute and onto their videos. You guys can introduce yourselves, and then the floor is yours.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. My name is Azue Toniru. I am a registered professional engineer and registered professional land surveyor in Massachusetts. I'm a principal of ET Engineering Enterprises, Inc., responsible for the site plans that will accompany the application for the special permit and site plan approval.
Welcome.
Thank you, sir. Nick, you want to introduce yourself?
Good evening. I'm Nick Marioni. I'm here representing the owner as applicant.
Kevin, you want to unmute yourself and introduce yourself?
Hi, my name's
Who else is
Kevin.
with us, Azu?
Kevin.
Can you hear me? There we go.
Yeah.
My name is Kevin Davis, PE. I'm also representing ET Engineering.
Welcome to all three of you.
Thank you.
The floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. If I may share my files.
Yes, please do.
So I have, can you see the plan?
Not yet.
Oh, okay. Share. Oh, I suppose I gotta say share first. Okay. Is that showing?
Not yet.
Nothing yet.
Okay, Kevin, can you share the site plans? Because mine is not opening up.
There we go.
Okay, so what we have here is the existing conditions of the site. It's located right at the corner, if you will. Right in here is the intersection of Washington Street and Turnpike Street. The property is right here. Right now, we have an existing building that is located right here. It is serviced by parking areas and a driveway that is connected to, that comes right off of Turnpike Street. The existing septic system is located right here. And we did our test pits that were witnessed by the Board of Health agent. And these represent the test pit data, and the locations of the test pits are shown right in here. There is an existing wetland system that's over here, and another wetland system that is right over here. And there's a drainage basin that's located right here that serves the existing parking. Kevin, if you will, next sheet. Okay, right here is the proposed site plan, including this building right here, colored in blue, if you will, and along with certain landscaping features and a proposed rain garden to help with the attenuation of the runoff from the parking area. We also have a drainage swale right in here and an expansion of the drainage basin that is located here. We filed a notice of intent with the Conservation Commission, and the commission reviewed the application. They hired the firm of Strong Point Engineering to review the stormwater management plans consistent with Chapter 227 of the Easton Code, as well as the Wetlands Protection Act, the regulations and stormwater management guidelines promulgated by the Department of Environmental Protection. And the Conservation Commission has issued an order of conditions approving the project. Kevin, next sheet. Okay, this is the what we call construction period plan that shows these sequences for construction with an area, stone pad at the entrance to make sure that we don't have materials being tracked off of the site into the public way. The part of the feature of this project is that we have expanded the parking to include this area right here. Now, the parking that we originally proposed extended up to halfway into the rain garden. However, during the public hearing process with the Conservation Commission, we ended up reducing the parking area so that we can include the rain garden. Kevin, next one. And this basically shows the construction details for the proposed infrastructure. And then Kevin, I will probably want to share the proposed landscaping. And this is the landscaping plan that's been submitted with 3 features. A detail for planting in the rain garden so that it will function as a rain garden. And this area here basically highlighted in dark off red color, which matches the same building that we showed on the proposed site plan. Next is the photometric. Kevin, if you would put up the photometric. Okay, this is the photometric plan that shows the lighting features, and we expect that based on the lighting with the LED lighting, it's a dark sky friendly and will not shed any light into abutting properties. It dies off according to the landscape design. And Kevin, can you show the cut sheets as well for the? So these are the cut sheets that were provided by the lighting company. And the next one, Kevin.
That's both of them there. They're just very similar.
Okay. So basically, we also received basically go back to the site plan, Kevin, the layout of the project itself. Okay, go to the second sheet on the top. The other way, yeah. Okay, actually, this will suffice. So basically, the project, we are here before the board, praying the board for its review and approval. But we believe that the site plan and the proposed the narrative that we provided for the consideration under the special permit meets the intent of the bylaws, in that the project is consistent with the zoning. It is consistent with the existing proposed use. It's consistent with the recreational use of the existing building. Now, in the narrative and our zoning calculations, we indicated that it's a combination of a recreational use and warehousing. But I just want to be very clear that when we say warehousing, it's more for the storage of the equipment and servicing of the equipment that is associated with the recreational use. So there is not going to be an independent warehousing operation where you have tandem trucks or heavy vehicles coming in. The warehousing is more of storage for the use. The As I understand the bylaw, and I think the bylaw, the reason we are doing special permit here is because we have two separate buildings under the plan unit development. We felt that attaching the building, which can be done, attaching it to the existing building, whereby we eliminate the need for a special permit, but it will not be aesthetically pleasing, and it will not flow very well with the site. So with that, we felt that this design, this layout, is a little bit more consistent with the use of the site. We are not exceeding any ratios that are required, land space requirements, coverage, and so we pray the board to see that the project is consistent with your intent of the bylaw, and issue the requested site plan approval and special permit. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Anyone else from your team?
Nick, would you want to add to?
Yeah, I'd like to expand on the tenants we're talking to. We have a theme going here with sort of fitness. We have a gym in there. We have a basketball tenant, and we have a baseball tenant. And we've had a lot of interest from similar type operations like aerobic studio and Pilates, and we even had a conversation a couple of weeks ago with sporting goods, sell sporting goods and sporting drinks. So those are the types of tenants we're looking for. I keep the theme of the MVP Plaza, and we're understanding the sensitivity of the back of the building. As you can see, we're not putting any overhead doors in at this time. It's just passage doors, walkout doors, and there's really not room to get a big truck around the back from the pavement area that we have. So, in talking with the neighbors, those, of course, are some of the concerns. And we have utilities running back there, so the best we can do for buffering on our property is a fence. And I think that's shown on the site plan. Azu, is that on this plan?
That's correct.
Okay.
Right in this area here.
So I think a lot of these uses, I know in the first three tenants we had out there were special permit uses because they required bathrooms and showers. So we're expecting we may have special permitted uses here as well. So until we get tenants officially, we don't know. If there are any questions about that, I'd be happy to take them.
Well, I actually do that. I'm curious about your communications with the neighbors. If you could expound upon that a bit and just tell us, what's the nature of those communications been, and how did you address their concerns with this particular plan?
Well, we had some meetings during the conservation process with the neighbors and of course the public hearings. And we feel, and I think the Conservation Commission felt, I'm not speaking for them, but by approving the plan, I think they felt that we were making the bad situation that these people have a little better by shedding more water away from their property than was prior to construction. I sent an email earlier this week offering to meet with the tenants, I'm sorry, the abutters. Apparently they'd rather talk tonight, I think, so we can answer their questions tonight instead of meeting on the site. The site's staked out, the corners of the building. We've been over it before. They know where the building's going. I thought they were more concerned about drainage going onto their property, which was happening prior to the changes we made with conservation. But at any time, from now or going forward or during construction, I'm more than willing to meet with them.
Okay. Stephanie.
Okay, so just confirming that when you use the term warehousing, Azu, you said storage of equipment, so separate units would not be used for storage of equipment, or it would be?
No.
Go ahead, Nick.
Not looking for any warehousing.
Or tradespeople, or
sorry,
you're solely looking to make this a recreational facility like the existing one?
That's what we would like to do. But like, for instance, one of the people we're talking to, or we had been talking to, they sold sporting goods, shirts, uniforms, and sport drinks. And they had a need to warehouse some of that in the back because they got deliveries by the case. So I guess based on that,
but in the back of this,
warehouse.
so it would be storage in the back of the same unit where this, it sounds like a retail operation is occurring. Is that?
That tenant would be, yes.
Okay.
If we got that tenant, they would be a retail operation and they would be storing their goods in a back room. The other tenants we're talking to have no storage. It's just equipment that they use in the course of the business.
Right. So, Bob, my concern only was because they referenced warehousing, and when the original, you may recall, I think you were on the board at that time. Originally, when the first building was approved, it was thought that it would be like contractors' bays. And what ended up happening, there was a higher, this is my understanding, Nick, that what happened was you were approached for the fitness center first, and then other people that were doing indoor recreation of that nature were interested, and that's what your tenants became, and which I think is great. It's meeting a need, and it's really wonderful that it's occupied. But at this point, you wouldn't want to be mixing a lot of vehicles coming in, larger vehicles, with, I don't think, with the recreation aspect of it and that type of nature. But
I agree.
So it sounds like that answers that question. And that was my comment basically on the traffic report again, was if there would be heavy vehicles coming in. The landscaping plan and the landscaping that was provided previously was really very specific at the time and approved. There was some of the board members wanted to see kind of a more naturalized landscaping there with the larger trees. You're going to be removing some of those. The plans did not show what the plant material would be for the rain garden. So I'd like to see that, or was it there and I just missed it?
No, it was submitted today.
Okay.
It was revised today and submitted earlier this morning.
Okay, so those are all native species. That's good.
Yes.
So Azu, I don't know if you explained this well enough, but really, again, I'd like just an explanation of how the proposed replacement plants help meet the objective of the original landscape design in softening that kind of industrial look from the streetscape, from the street view. And in particular, because you really are sandwiched between two residential areas, even though this is in a commercial district.
Well, Kev, so with the caveat that I try to stay in my lane of land surveying and engineering, that's my expertise. I'm not a landscape architect, and so with that caveat, I can only speak to the fact that we received the plans, and I believe the species that they're proposing right here, right along here, as well as in the rain garden, which you did not have before, and then Nika will make sure that we had that available. They worked on it over the weekend, actually, and so the specifications, Kevin, if you will, go over to the, okay, right here. So this provides the specifications for the proposed trees as well as the species for the rain garden area. Because, Kevin, go back to the rain garden area for a second. So if you're looking right in here, there's a few species being introduced which we did not have before. So those we provide the buffering as well as the being consistent with the plant species
Okay, fine.
required by DEP for rain garden areas. So that whole area will provide the requisite buffer, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
Can we blow this up, Azu? Kevin, can this be zoomed in on? I don't know if that helps.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yep. Okay, then my other comment was on the snow storage area. So if you could, this plan doesn't seem to show that. If you could go to one of the plans that show the snow storage area and zoom in. I believe it's on the kind of center. I don't mean the center. Kind of on the center of the site is just off. It basically what I observed in looking at it, it looks like the snow storage is proposed in an area that is either on or near the septic system.
Okay. So yeah,
I don't
right
see it.
here, right here. Kevin, zoom in just one more. Right here.
Right.
Yeah.
That correct.
Yeah.
So you have the parking lot. It looks like this small area you have a Cape Cod berm that would presumably prevent the pushing of snow onto the septic system.
Mm-hmm. Keep in
And
mind the septic system, right, that area is paved.
it
So
is a paved surface.
yes, ma'am.
Okay. And it's designed to hold heavy vehicles.
That is my design. Yes, I have to do that. Yeah.
Okay. All right. That's what I needed to know, that you weren't just, because that looked like an area where people would dump the snow is directly off that parking lot and not over to the side where you have it.
No, it'll be over here, and that will have signage posted as well.
Yeah. Those were my comments, Bob, and they've answered the rain garden with the landscaping plan for that. They have answered the question on the light fixtures for the lighting. I don't have any other questions or comments.
And just to expand on the lighting for 1 second, the light fixtures on the building are the same as the ones on the existing building, and I think we're only adding one more street light. The others are existing. The ones along the north driveway are existing.
Yeah, and that's what I noted when I reviewed the plan. I didn't include it in my comments, but
All right, thank you, Stephanie. Board members?
Can you go back to the snow storage shot for a second? I just had a quick question. There's a note there that says, do not drive heavy equipment over that area. I thought I just heard that it was okay to drive equipment over it, but there's a note there that says not to, and I was wondering how you get the snow into the snow storage area without driving over that.
If you know, the see right here, this right here is our tank, and if you look over here, you can see a proposed leaching area right here.
Mm-hmm.
And then here's the other proposed leaching area that I was referring to, that addresses Stephanie's questions regarding the ability to withstand the equipment. Right over here, we will also continue to maintain the existing septic system right here.
but that wasn't that wasn't the area I was talking about, a zoo. So Alan, if you don't mind, because you referenced
Yeah, I was talking about the snow storage area as designated on the plan. Is the
Right here.
Is the access to it between the rain garden and the grade area that says do not drive equipment or
The access to it. See, so when we put a store there, these 3 parking spots will not be in use when we bring snow over here.
So you need access through there. Okay.
That is correct.
So may I follow up on that
Yes.
question and answer? So how is someone who's coming in to plow, maybe for the first time, going to know that that is because that's not very large. I measured it when I was looking at the plan, but I can't remember.
Well, each space here is 10 feet. So that's
Right,
20,
which really
30,
when you're,
30 feet.
I'm sorry?
No, I said it's 30 feet total area available. If somebody cannot drive through there, then they shouldn't be operating an equipment.
But how are they going to know that is the area they're supposed to be pushing the snow to?
Because there will be sign, as I stated earlier, when I was responding to your first question, I said that we have signs posted there.
Okay, I'm sorry, I missed that.
There will be signage.
Okay, I had one follow-on question. I think in some of the reading I was doing on the project, there was a question about the required parking based on the use. Is the parking that we're looking at based on the worst case use for a number of spots, or there was a different requirement for recreational, retail, warehouse, or so how many spots do we have, and is it covered for the use that demands the most parking?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Kevin, if you will go down to the site plan where we have the parking calculation.
Right there.
This is what you're looking for, is it?
Yes. So we did our parking calculation based on the use that is comparable to what is there now. And so we have a total of 78 parking spaces provided. And right now, even with using calculations similar to what we are using for recreation right now, the parking is not even, the existing parking is not even being fully utilized. So it is, in my opinion, it is more than adequate.
I think, isn't the recreational though 1 per 500 square foot rather than 1 per 1,000? I don't recall. Stephanie, can you?
It's 1 for 400.
It's 1 per 400 square feet. Yeah. And thank you for bringing that up because that was a question I had too.
So that would be worst case, 1 per 400 square feet. So, I mean, if you look at both buildings and net them out and it's recreation, do you have 1 per 400 square feet, I guess would be my question. I mean, you don't have to answer it now, but it needs to be calculated out some way or another or accounted for in the plan, I believe. You know, for us to be able to approve, I think, something that has, you know, the adequate parking with the tenant or final use still up in the air.
I think it calculates out to, at 400, I think it calculates out to 33 parking spaces required, and I think we have 34.
Not,
No,
so the,
34 would be required. We have 49.
so again, if I can jump in.
Yes, please.
So you have a total of 33,080 square feet of gross floor area across both buildings. And if you divide that by 400, it equals 82 parking spaces. So if this were all to be used as recreation, the required amount would be of parking would be 82 parking spaces. So to me, the question for the board in what is your experience currently with the space you have? How many parking spaces do you have per square foot currently? For the current building, are they all being used?
That's what I was saying about. So about there's two parts to my response. Number one part to that response is no, because we were there for several visits during the course of our work. The parking lot, the parking spaces, based on our observations, maximum usage was about 50% of the existing parking spots that are being used right now, because of the overlap. In other words, the building use, the different people come different times. Some people come in the morning and some come in the afternoon. So you don't have the facility being 100% utilized all the time. And also, while when we've clarified the fact that we're not talking warehousing that require big vehicles, but I would imagine that the area that you're using for storage, those are dead spaces, if you will, that are not attracting traffic, if you will. So if in fact we do need to provide additional parking, which I don't believe we need to, there's still room to do that. So 82 versus 78, and based on our actual usage, the parking demand is less than what is actually provided.
I mean, I think the demand needs to be evaluated, you know, probably in a winter season on a weekend. I don't know if you can judge it based on what's happening right now.
Now, Mr. Chairman, we've actually started our work back in September last year. So we have fall observations, winter observations, spring observations. And during the summer, you don't have as much activity there because a lot of people go on vacations. What attracts recreational activities is when people are cooped up inside and they want to stay active. So we made our observations during the fall season, the winter months, and the spring.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Right, I'd like to just add one other thing to that, if I may. It's a little distorted because the baseball tenant, which takes up probably the biggest part of the building, bigger than the other two tenants separately, but most of his are kids that are dropped off. So the parking spots are not being used by the parents who then come and pick them up. And in the summer, he takes them outside. He has some private lessons inside for batting and other things, but most of the kids are outside, takes them to the fields. So we're not using the parking spaces with these tenants, and we hope that the same thing's going to happen with the others. They're going to be classes that come in at different times, and
Okay,
so
no, thank you. I think, it's very close to what's needed, so, I'm fine.
Stephanie, quick question here. If we were to approve something less than the worst case scenario, does that require some kind of a waiver or?
Yeah. I mean, we've never had a formal waiver request on it.
Okay. I was just curious. I don't recall that, so I was just wondering.
I
Okay.
mean, I am one, as most of you should know by now, because I say it frequently. I'm one who doesn't really want to see more parking than what's needed if it's never going to be used, but at the same time, you don't want to see inadequate parking that then causes problems either onto the roadway or even with internal circulation where people are trying to jockey for parking spots.
No, I understand that. I was just wondering from a procedural standpoint.
Right.
Okay.
Yep.
Um,
Other board members?
I think I just had a quick question. When was the last time the traffic study was done? For this, was it done at the start of the original building?
We did our own evaluation when we started putting this plan together. That's where I certified. It wasn't a huge traffic study. It was more of to aid the layout of the building, and then assess the parking needs, and then to make sure that again, what makes this very good is the driveway, if you will. It's almost like a glorified road with two-way in and out, and it's only one driveway proposed, and all our queuing will be contained inside, so you wouldn't have any problem with access. So the study that we did was more to help us lay out the project. And any queuing will be internal, and we have plenty of room for internal circulation. And I would echo what Stephanie said earlier about parking, and that is, I always like to provide a balance between the environment and the needs of a site. I don't personally like to have too much of asphalt. So that's why we kept the use and the parking the way we've done. I don't see any need for more parking on this project. I can attest to that.
Uh, Thank you. I wasn't so much asking about parking as I was more concerned with the main road, kind of where it comes in. That's a busy area with kind of traffic forking off in two directions from 138 and then onto Turnpike Street. And was just curious about the increased traffic kind of going to that building, if there'd been any considerations of people kind of coming in and out, like what is it now? And if you're essentially like probably by like what, by 40% increasing the amount of usable space, then you're going to be increasing the amount of folks kind of driving in and out of that area.
It that will naturally be what we think, but a lot of these uses attract what I call local traffic, people that are already using the area. Oh, instead of going all the way to Brockton, there's one facility right there in Brockton, and I believe right off of Pearl Street. So what you are seeing here, you're not going to see somebody coming from Norton to come to this facility. Or so basically, you're looking at local traffic that are already using the area. So you're not going to see, and what actually helps is recently, when I say recently, my office used to be on Washington Street, at 855 Washington Street. Recently, right out on Purchase Street, which is to the north, behind Ultimate Pizza. There's a forward stop sign that's there now, and that helps quite a bit regulate traffic, so that you don't have where you might have a problem is if somebody's already traveling if a good rate of speed, and then they have to jam their brakes to because a car stopped in front. It takes a lot of the traffic coming on Turnpike Street. When you get up to Purchase Street, that intersection, you slow down because you have to stop, and you don't generate enough speed before you get to this site. So, and you're not going to have traffic that is traveling south on Washington Street, making a quick left turn. It's not a viable left turn that they will have to do because of the layout of the road itself. So you're not going to have, based on that evaluation, you're not going to have an appreciable amount of increase in traffic.
So I guess my question is, I mean, I'm sure you know, kind of having the office in that area, then 138 in Purchase is there's accidents all the time. People, for whatever reason, don't kind of right outside of Doyle's, don't necessarily stop at the stop signs, and they kind of cruise through, and there's constant accidents. I have a friend who lives near there who got to the point where she was keeping a first aid kit just on her so she could run out and help folks. I'm just curious, and I know that increase in traffic might be local folks, but even local folks will be turning in and out of a place that they were not turning in and out of. So I guess that's just my question, is that we've asked for traffic studies and examination of kind of traffic and other kind of planned spaces around town, and that would it be appropriate to do something like that here, considering the increase in traffic?
So if you are looking at an office use, that would be something that would attract a lot of traffic. Most of the usage here are people that are working, so they come in early in the morning or in the evening. So it will be off peak hour traffic usage, if you will. Most of the people, like myself, although I don't do that much often anymore at my age, because every bone in my body hurts. But for the people that do a lot of this exercise, they go there like 5:30 in the morning, 6 o'clock in the morning, and then after dinner at night. So that's really atypical of peak hour demand, which is usually 7 to 9 in the morning. So it's off peak, so you wouldn't have that issue.
Ma'am, I have a question, maybe for Stephanie. So the police department needs to bless this intersection signage, whatever is needed for this.
Carlos, can you talk closer to your computer?
Yeah, we're not hearing you.
Oh, can you hear me?
Sound like
A
you're
little
underwater.
muffled.
Yeah, sometimes happen. The we approve for the police department for this intersection and safety. I want to write it down.
A piece of information I can share is that, and I don't know offhand what the time frame is or if we've been communicated the time frame, but Mass DOT is planning on installing traffic signals on Turnpike Street and Washington Street at the Purchase Street intersections.
Thank you for that information. That helps a lot with me thinking about the turning and traffic in that area.
Yeah, and I'm sensitive to that. I was actually the victim of someone who ran the stop sign coming west on Purchase Street.
Okay, Amos asked, do we need approval from police or DPW for signage on this intersection?
Are we talking about proposing signage? I mean, any signage on the roadway would need to be reviewed, probably by the Traffic Safety Committee, which is the fire chief, the police chief, and the DPW. Or Mass Highway, because it's one of their roads. So I'm not sure what signage.
It
We
looks
have
like
a
we have
stop,
it
we
in
have a
front of the
stop
rain garden.
sign. Oh, sorry.
Does it say sign garden there in front of the rain garden?
Yeah, we have a stop sign, well, for vehicles exiting the site.
Yeah, I don't know that I mean, we've never asked for police to approve a sign or not to comment on the sign. However, we do seek comments from police, fire, and I thought I saw that they had signed off. So police signed off on the project. Oh, wait a minute, I'm looking at the wrong year. I'm looking at the first one. Sorry. I think I have the comments in my report, but yeah, so there were no adverse comments from the police department.
Well, Amos clarified his last question. He said, we need expertise to assess the additional risks on this intersection. I am not talking about signage. Sorry for the misunderstanding.
Just offer a little bit of history here. When we did Schoolhouse Plaza back in 2002, and when we did the first building on this site, on both occasions, we asked Mass Highway if we could put up a sign that said dangerous intersection, please signal your intention. And we were denied being able to put up a sign on their road. There's a lot of the problems there. People who are staying straight or going left, they don't signal which way they're going, so somebody doesn't know. But anyway, signage could be a waste with Mass Highway.
Yeah, maybe. Amos also mentioned we should not speculate about this issue in this meeting. That's my opinion. I mean, I guess the question is really, because now more than one board member has raised the issue, is do we need some form of a traffic study? I mean, I hear you and I understand the presentation. It is a dangerous intersection, however, and I do wonder if that would yield any additional data points for us to consider this. I don't know. I mean, Stephanie, board members, what do you think? Do we want to ask for one?
I mean, given the location of it, I would think at a minimum there needs to be like a no left turn sign at the end of the access road. I think it would be dangerous for someone to take a left coming out of the driveway into, two converging streets. But
I think that's totally fair, and that's something that I would totally be on board with. I guess the bigger question, and the one that Amos has raised expressly, is do we want to, request a traffic study in some fashion? Right. Well, he's calling it a safety study, but that's generally going to be involved, or I would think that's going to be part of any typical traffic study that we would see. They're going to, assess the deterioration of the traffic patterns and potential safety risks in this area, if that's something we're inclined to do. Although, Alan, I think what you said makes sense to me as well, and the presentation on from Azu and Nick also makes sense to me. So I'm sort of ambivalent about it, and I'm looking to other board members to get their thoughts.
I'll just say the last two, I think, out of the three larger kind of larger scale developments we've done did have traffic studies, including one, two out of the three had parking lot usage. Like they counted the parking spaces and what the utilization of the parking spots were. So that was great data to have in order to approve the projects, because then we could know that we would keep people's safety in mind. So I would be very much in favor of kind of a traffic study.
Bob, if I could comment on that?
Please.
I think the volume of traffic isn't going to add significantly to the volume along 138. But I do agree that because of those dangerous intersections, which are already a danger, I mean, they're a high crash incident, which is why Mass DOT is looking at putting the lights in. And until they do, I mean, at some point when they do, people will get it. Inherently, most people, you take the right-hand turn, you come to the signal, you wait for your left-hand turn, you go and you're safe. But until they do that, so, and it's up to the board. I mean, if you want a full-blown, but you may want to ask the applicant to have a traffic study that evaluates the potential for crashes from left-hand turns and even right-hand turns onto the roadway.
I mean, a traffic study is usually predicated on, the final end use of the building. And since we don't know that, it would be hard to generate, real traffic data, not knowing what the, proposed building will be having for a tenant.
But I think we've heard what their intent is, for it to continue to be these recreational facilities, whether they're practice or training facilities for team sports or fitness centers. Is that correct?
Yes, and that is correct, Stephanie. And the board, I just want to make this point that when when I did the site plan for QSET Brook project for Mr. King years ago, we have Stoneforge Restaurant, and then we have the assisted living and all that. A project of that magnitude, or what was done on Depot, where Target is, when you have a project to that scale, a traffic study makes perfect sense. And I'm not saying that it doesn't make sense in this particular case here, but because it's such a low volume project, I agree that the installation of a sign, because whatever we find on this project, let's assume we did some traffic study, we cannot go and make improvements on Turnpike Street and Washington Street. And so, and I do believe that to at least, if you will, I hate the term compromise because it doesn't sound good, but I do think that if put a sign no left turn allowed over there, as well as the stop sign that is already on the property, we can regulate and control what comes out of the site. But we really can't make improvements to Turnpike Street and Washington Street, even if we made any findings, right? So,
I tend to agree. I tend to agree with what Azu's saying. I mean, the if it comes back and they say it's, a dangerous intersection, which we all know, and this use is going to add to that, then what's our response going to be? Well, no, you can't do it. I mean, I think the response at that point in time is, this is just me speaking, my own personal opinion. It will be, well, how can we make it safer for vehicles exiting the property, which is, I think, where we're potentially at today. So, I mean, I'm sympathetic to what Azu is saying. I mean, I guess unless somebody gives me some compelling reason why we need to go out and do a traffic study, I mean, I think we already know it's a dangerous intersection. So is that going to prevent us from approving the project, or is that going to lead us to a direction on, making it a safer, or as safe as we possibly can from our perch? I mean, what do we think?
I tend to agree with what you said second, in that, you know, it's already being used in some respects. We're gonna add to it, and we just need to make it as safe as possible. I don't think we can do anything to the intersection. I mean, maybe it's no left turn between 7 and 9 a.m. and 3 to 6 p.m.
Or at all.
Somebody comes out of there at 5:30 in the morning, they're gonna bang a left. So it's probably gonna be nobody on
That's
the
at
road.
their risk. I mean, I would
Right.
be in favor of a no left turn sign, given what I'm hearing.
Yeah, yeah, I think that would be a good addition to the safety aspects of it. Not being at the site, I can't tell what the visibility is on 138. If you were to try to take a left, I think that's pretty open because it's the parking lot to Ultimate Pizza. So I think you have a pretty clear shot at what's coming at you from both streets. But
Yeah, both those roads are a straight line, and I don't
Yeah.
think there's a significant grade change that creates,
right, yeah, they're dead straight and flat.
To your point, and Amos made a similar one. He said it's important for the rain garden, or I guess the sign there as well, not to block visibility on the road. So the rain garden, I don't, based on what I've seen of the vegetation, I don't see that as being, real significant obstruction. But can you, Azu, can you tell us about the sign it says there's a reference to a sign. Maybe it's already there, I don't know. But there's a sign out front. Could you tell us about that?
Yes, sir. Over here is a stop sign, right here. And then the left turn that you will be seeing, put in, is also will be there for the simple reason that when you're the exiting vehicle is in this lane right here. So they have to see.
so
Yes,
we,
ma'am.
okay,
I can't
now
see
I
it.
can see it. It's
Oh, there
very
you go.
hard to see the cursor. The cursor's tiny.
Yeah.
Oh,
Is
can you see my arrow right now? Or no?
Yes.
is your associate's cursor?
That's me attempting to mimic what Azu's pointing at, but
Okay.
it's my cursor, Azu. I was doing a good job until now, so I apologize.
Yeah.
I can kind of see it when you move it. If you just keep squiggling it, we'll see it better.
So the idea is that it's forward of the sign, because I guess what Amos and Alan and I tend to agree is that if you're going to be pulling out from there, and I agree with them, there should be no left turns out of there.
Yes.
But even to take a right, you want to be able to have good visibility all the way down. And I think we would want some assurances that there's a sign that's in front of the rain garden there. Do you see that? Yes, exactly. Right there.
Yep.
I think we'd want some assurances that's not going to create any problems or hindrances for vehicles that are exiting the property.
No, they wouldn't, and I'll tell you why. The cars when they're coming out, they are stacked right here. Okay, so you have a clear from here, a clear line of sight going out this way here. So nothing right in here. Can you see my big arrow, or am I just?
This is me trying to
When you move,
know where you are.
Are you okay? Kevin, stop moving. Let me see. Can you guys see mine? Oh no.
No, we can't see yours.
No.
Oh,
No screen sharing.
Yeah.
okay. So Kevin, you see where it says 20 feet, right at that intersection right there,
Yep.
where the gas line,
Yeah, right
where
here.
the gas line comes through by the sideline of the road.
Yep.
There's a clear line of sight. So if you were to put the cursor, can you make that cursor bigger, Kevin?
Don't think so.
I can
Not
see it. He's
easily.
got it right in the red spot, right in the red
Yeah.
circle.
So move back slowly towards the site, inside the site. Slowly, a little more. Right there, hold it. If you were to project a straight line from there, you can see that we have a clear line of sight. The line of sight will be even with the sideline of our Turnpike Street. So that will not be that you wouldn't have any issue of but I will agree with you 100%.
The sight line is forward of the sign, in other words, is what you're saying.
That is correct. Thank you.
Okay. All
Yes,
right. That's fine, and that's how it looked on the plan to me. But I
Yeah.
just wanted to hear it out loud because I
Yeah.
think it's a fair, I think it's a fair point raised by both Alan and Amos.
That is
Yeah.
correct.
Okay. Any
And
other?
so with the stop sign and no left turn, then that will mitigate that concern. But I will tell you this, and you know it. Yes, we can do all the best we can to regulate that, and I think the people that uses facility are very reasonable people. However, the reason police give people citation on the highways, on the roads, it says 50 miles an hour. You see people doing 75. So human behavior is something that sometimes is intractable, no matter how hard we try. But I want to assure you that we will put the no left turn sign to supplement the stop sign that's there. And I think that'll at least mitigate and assuage that concern.
I appreciate it. Before we get to the public, Kathy, do you have any questions or comments?
I think I wanted to know more about the photometric plan and how that's looking. Because it does seem like, looking at that, there seems like there is a touch spillage over into the backyard of the abutters.
Zoom into that, Kevin. I think about.
Can you see that?
Yep. Yeah. So it all showing actually from see the blue line that forms the plume of I don't know what to call it, but for each unit, you can see that it drops from before you even get to the property line, it drops down to 0. And then it's telling you that it's going to stay 0 for all that distance. So those little numbers signify intensity, and it goes 0 before you hit the property line.
I don't know. I'm looking at it too, and I'm seeing what
Doesn't-
Kathy's seeing. It looks like
Yeah.
there's it looks like a touch of it, but it does look like there's 0.1s and 0.2s on some of the property of the neighbors. I don't know, it's hard for me to read. Kathy, is
Yeah.
that what you were seeing?
Yeah, so I was seeing like a 0.2 and a 0.1 hitting the backyards of these houses. And
Kevin, can you zoom in more?
I mean, I even see
They,
1
they
point. I
definitely
see
are there
1.4.
because I mentioned them in my report.
yeah,
Zoom
I
in
will-
more, Kevin.
Okay. I will note that some of those numbers are in the middle of existing trees.
Yeah.
That's true
Okay.
too. That's a good point.
Yeah.
yes, except there's not foliage in the winter.
Also a good point.
And I was looking at what you had for the fence between the properties. Is it true that there's a low cement fence with then the vinyl fence on top of it? Was I reading that correctly?
Yeah, there's a short wall, and then there were a fence on top of that. Correct.
A concrete wall 4 feet high.
Right there. See that? You see that double? Yes, Kevin. You see where it says there were 385.44?
Yep.
Okay, so just north of that, because the building would be north of that number 385.44. So you can see that a proposed wall, and then on top of that wall is the fence.
So for a total of 10 feet.
How high is the wall?
The fence is 6 feet.
How high is the wall?
The
But
wall is 4 feet.
Right, so in other words,
So if you look over here, okay,
so you've got 10 feet in total coverage. Is that going
that
to
is
pick up?
correct. That is
Is that
correct.
going to
So
pick?
you have 4 foot high
Azu,
wall.
hold on. Let me just ask
Oh,
my question.
yes, sir.
So is that going to pick up or remove, eliminate some of the lighting that we saw on the photometric plan? The spillage?
That will be my, because the photometric plan just looking at the site. But
Right.
when you have a 4 foot high concrete wall with a block wall with a 6 foot of fence above it, and that 6 fence will be with the lattice in it, because that was the input that we got. So you're looking at a total of 10 feet.
That's helpful. Anything else, Kathy?
Nope. I think I was just a little concerned about what felt like some
Yeah.
spillage of light over into the
Right.
backyards.
And so if you look at the photometric, Kevin, pull that back up on the photometric. That assumes if you look at that, it's not showing that wall.
Mhm.
So it didn't take into consideration the proposed wall.
It's helpful.
How high are the light posts?
Yeah.
It's building mounted.
Well, what's the height of yeah.
16,
What?
I think it's 16 feet is the height off the ground that the light post is. And the
Right.
lights on the building.
Thank you.
How high are the lights on the building? You're 16 feet?
16 feet off the ground to the light fixture on the building, 20 foot on the light post.
And if I'm looking at the fixture, the way they designed it, it will have that little dome on it.
What's going on in the back of the building? I mean, is there a need for a lot of lighting there, or
He's not showing lights on the back of the building.
No.
So is
well,
that
where are those the
We
plumes
are.
from?
Where's
We
the
are showing
yeah?
lights.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Showing
Yes.
lights.
No. So Kevin, zoom in just a hair on this. No, stay on that on our plan. Right. Just zoom in a little bit more. Right. Okay. Stop. Look at the see those little black squares with a little circle on them.
Right, those are the lights.
Those are the lights. There's
Right.
no light on the back of the building.
Right. So
There
what
are
is the
lights on
cast?
back
What
of
is the
building.
cast on the photometric plan?
Yeah, there's a plume there showing like it's just being dispensed from a light, like the plumes.
There are 4 lights on the back of the building.
Okay,
So
so those are the
the
lights in
plan
the
just
back of the
didn't
building.
show them. Yeah.
I got you.
But to Alan's question, what's the why do you need the lights back there, or why do you need 4 of them?
Yeah.
Well, because there's going to be 4 exit doors, and we just thought it'd be safer to have 4 lights, one over each door.
So are they going to shine at night every night, or are they going to be activated when someone is entering the rear of the building?
No, they'll be on a photo cell, and they'll be there for safety and security. But they don't spill off the site. They have, shine down. That doesn't mean somebody doesn't see the light. It just means that it doesn't shine onto their property.
But the photometric plan is showing a small amount of spillage.
I don't see it on this plan. I see it.
Yeah, and you have
it
green
does
area,
it
which
does
is
show
on our property.
No. So the Stephen's point, Nick. It shows like a 0.1, 0.0, 0.2, but again, the photometric plan is conservative in assuming that nothing is on that side of the building. But but you have a 10-foot high screening.
A 6-foot screen from this side.
Lattice, yeah. So I think that will mitigate against that. But
I mean, there's no parking in the back of the building. Are those
No.
Emergency exits only? I mean, if they're just
Yes.
emergency exits, it appears over illuminated to my eye, but I'm just giving you my opinion. In the back.
And 16 feet high seems awfully high.
I also don't, I mean, I think as a practical matter, wouldn't it make sense for them to be, if they are just for emergency purposes, to be, you know, like movement activated?
And
So
also
that
maybe lower, like just above the door,
Right.
sure.
instead of 16 feet high off the ground.
I mean,
And then you'd have no spillage
Right.
over with the fence.
they look as bright as the lights on the front of the building where you've got parking and, you know, people coming and going.
Yeah, we could take a look at that.
I mean, it seems to
whether
make
it's
sense.
motion activated or,
Yeah, I mean, save you some electricity.
okay, we'll look at that.
Appreciate it. All right. Unless I have any board member comments, I'd like to open it up to the public at this time.
I'm good.
Okay.
We
Stephanie, do we
have-
have any comments?
We have one person, Camille Smalls Sincere.
Welcome.
Hi, thank you. I don't know if you guys can see me. I just see the audio option, not camera.
That's okay. I
Okay,
think that's
that's
because
fine.
you're
Okay.
not a panelist. If you could just introduce yourself and state your address, and the floor is yours.
Okay, awesome. So my name is Camille Smalls. That's just my business name, C Inspired Events, and my husband Ron here as well. We are located at 47 Windchime Road, which is directly behind where this proposed building is going. I actually wanted to share with the board this evening pictures of the yard when it does flood, excuse me, during the snow and fall, winter months and things of that nature. But since I don't have a camera, I'm not sure how you guys can get a visual representation from someone that's, you know, right there in the area that you guys were discussing. What does it look like? So for what we are actually proposing to as well, this building is literally right up against where our home is going to be. Each of our house floors are 8 feet. So now we're talking about a 10-feet wall with a 16 feet lighting area to go over, which shines directly, will illuminate our house per se. The building that is already there, they have lights on as well. They are bright. They shine on to right into our bedroom window. And the two other neighbors that's on the side of us, which is 43 Windchime, and then I believe 46 are neighbors. So we all have that. This is a community of young children under the age of 13 who play outside. We do have an access road. So I'm sorry, I know I'm jumping everywhere. So hopefully you guys are able to just understand. So let me try to slow it down. So when you guys were discussing about the consumers or customers turning left or right out of this proposed business plan, we have an access entry road for emergency vehicles. And even without this proposed building there are people from however local or people coming through trying to get to Brockton or that turn into our community and they are speeding. And there have been a few almost, thank God, didn't happen incidences where children might have been struck. So that is a huge problem for our community, being with young kids and they're playing outside of that nature. Now to go back to where we're talking about, you guys had mentioned the spillage coming in with the 0.1, 0.2. So if you go bring that back up and it says existing screen plantings, that is where our house was, just to give you guys a visual representation of how close we are to where this proposed building is going to be for the dropping foliage. Again, I can't show my camera to show you guys what it looks like when.
Just so I'm clear, Camille, that's essentially the back of either your current house or where your house will be, where it says 6-inch topsoil and hydro seed. It's basically right there.
Yes, that's correct. Yes, that's where we are.
And
right
which
there.
number again was it? I'm sorry.
No, that's okay, Stephanie. 47 Windchime Road. We're the red brick house.
Thank you.
You're welcome. My pleasure. So from the pictures that I do have, and if there's an email address I can send that to, I'm more than happy to. That land already sits higher grade than our backyard. So whenever it rains or snow melts, or like we had that major freakish hurricane windstorm, our backyard flooded immensely. Like, so it was just a lot, and it's very cumbersome and just not going to be cohesive to the affecting of living wise to have this building smack dab directly behind our house with a 10-foot wall and 16-foot lights. The lights that are already, if that's the same height of the lights that are already on the building there, we do see it shine into, our bedroom every night. And then as well, we do have the forewithal of security. In the summer times, kids come through the back to where that building is and hang out and play music and do, we just, they're just there. It's open space, it's unsupervised, there's no police patrol car that goes certain times. So it's just very, unsafe. And we don't want to, in a sense, be welcoming to danger since we are a new community, just, under 5 years with a lot of young little kids. And
Can you hear me?
Yes, I was going to make a suggestion.
Sure.
It sounds like some additional plantings of evergreens along that back would help.
Do they have room? Azu, do you
Right.
have room
Well,
for
that's
plantings back there?
So, a couple of things. We, in terms of the reference to drainage, we changed the design of the project so that the water, well, if you look at what Kevin point, see where it says proposed
Azu, we heard that part of the presentation earlier.
Right.
I know.
I think
I do want to hear about the photometric issue though, because that's
Yeah.
something
No,
that's
so
large
I
on our
think-
minds.
Yes, so I think that is the photometric issue is a valid point, and I think the comment that you made earlier, I think I don't see why we couldn't just put the light fixtures just on the door, and that only gets triggered so there will be more like a motion detection light rather than a light that stays on all the time. I think that should be amenable, and it doesn't need to be on the top of the building. It can be right at those doors that Nick mentioned.
If it's above the door, it'd be lower than the fence.
That is correct, and then be a motion detection light so that it's not on all the time as well.
And Bob, could we ask that they do the same on the existing building?
Well, I think we can. I think we can ask for at a minimum. Yeah, well, how are the lights on the back attached, Azu, on the existing building?
Well, they are mounted.
They're mounted?
Yes.
Would it be possible, at least for the two that are facing this new community, would it be possible to lower those and do the same, method that we're talking about now on the new building?
I don't see why we couldn't do that.
Right.
Well, we'll look into it. That's possible. But I want to get the owner to confirm it first. It's a big
understood.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure that it's possible.
Yes, we'll look
because
into anything that helps these. If they bring up these complaints to us, we'll do anything we can to address them. And if we can't address them, we'll give them a good reason why we can't. We'll find some alternative.
Understood. Because listen, we have to pay attention to the safety and needs of the surrounding community. That's obviously one of the big issues that we're worried about here tonight.
Mm-hmm.
But I think this will go a long ways in addressing that very significant issue.
Yep.
Yes.
And just to also input, we do have a lot of wildlife that we see here. So I know we're speaking of the option of motion sensors. We get a lot of foxes, a lot of deers, just things. So lighting is it's good, it's bad. It doesn't really have a soft center. It's either on 24 hours or it's flicking like strobe lighting, right? Because if there's motion with animals going back there, or kids driving back there through night doing whatever they do during the summertime, teenagers and stuff like that, it's going to be on at any given time for motion, because we're just for 47 Windchime Road, we are directly behind you guys, like directly. So up, and I'll email the pictures to whoever, just please let me know. Right where you see the foliage with the trees and the evergreens where you're thinking to going, that's where we are. We have a deck, so that's me stepping out on my deck and then looking straight at this big building that's going to be with a 10 feet wall in front of me. So that also too is going to help, going to harm property value when we do get ready, to possibly sell if we do and stuff like that, because who wants to walk out where we're used to seeing greenery and nature and its national habitat, and the conservation impact that this building will have, and trying to, sell our beautiful, construction wise built home.
Well, I mean, there's an existing building there now.
The existing building is to the right-hand side, so the proposed building, Bob, is smack dab right in the
No,
back of us.
I know what you're saying, but you're right next to a commercial building as it is. I mean, I don't think you
So
can reasonably expect that it's going to be completely unvarnished conservation land.
correct. So that existing building was here before the community was built. So us coming in
I
as a
understand.
new
I
build, we
understand.
already knew, yeah, we knew that was there. If we were spoken while we were picking our lots, oh, you're going to have a proposed 60 by 2018 building here, we wouldn't definitely. And then the OSCOF of water. I know we're thinking, okay, we put in a rain garden, we do a storm drain system, but Mother Nature does what Mother Nature does. And we can do a whole lot of, problem solving solutions or possibilities and what ifs. But from someone that's living through, what if this was here, or what if this wasn't here, or what if this, I'm just telling you, it's just not working. And it's not, me trying to be combative or troublesome. It's just being logical wise to how this lot is and how it was maintained, going forward before this building, that when it does rain or it does snow, we are highly impacted in our home.
I
And
understand. I understand. You're getting flooding now, though, correct?
yeah, we get a lot of flooding now. And
And
again, that's
and
because
this new plan is going to make a significant change to the way that flooding reaches your property, correct?
I mean, again, we're going off of what is, and hopefully it does, because the ground, where this proposed building is higher than ours. That lot is higher land wise, so it's still, water runs down. So we can say, oh, let's put something in there, but again, water is going to find a way to do what nature does.
Okay. Well,
Yeah,
thank you very much for your comments. I
you're welcome. Oh,
appreciate them.
I'm sorry, I just have my husband here too, if he wants to interject.
Yep, hi, this is Ron Smalls. I just wanted to say that the proposed 10-foot wall is a little bit different than what we had originally understood as a community, because we thought that there was going to be a wall separate from a fence, and having the fence on top of the wall, we would, as a community, need to, really understand how that's going to visually look. And with the proposed design, it doesn't look like the fence or wall um, encompasses the other portion of the building. So it's only, or the second, the existing building. So it only runs along one side. So does that mean that somebody could potentially walk around this fence or wall? Because if they could, then it would, provide some sort of hiding area for somebody who might not be, up to, good intentions. And they could be behind the wall and then potentially travel on the other side of the wall without detection, which would be a security hazard. So, would this building have proposed security mechanisms in place to prevent, that sort of activity?
Motion activated lights are going to come on.
But that doesn't really prevent somebody from walking in the community, does it? If the wall and fence doesn't.
If you've got a trespasser, you got to call the cops.
Right.
I mean, there's only so much the planning board can do here.
Right. So with right now, it's an open space, and we have called numerous times because we're right across directly from the car dealership where people were breaking in and they have lights on. So people who are not up to good standards, they're going to find any way, any mechanism to do that. Again, the highest concern is because we have young kids. There's been a numerous number of break-ins that have been not too far from us and stuff like that. So we're going off of, yeah, the person can hide or they can do that, but people still wear a mask and they still commit these, unforeseen criminal acts. And we would hate for something to be so astronomical. And then people's like, well, what could have been done? Why didn't we think about this sooner? A lot of times we wait for things to happen, then put an action plan. If we're going to be proactive, there should already be one in place. If this is going to go forward, then hire a security team, if it has to be private or through the town, that they are circulating, because we do have teenagers in the summertime, spring break, however, they are out here partying. And there's nobody there. We call the cops, they come disperse, they come back. We were all teenagers, so we understand that. And then also it's a business zone, so you have dump trucks for the trash coming in 1 a.m., 6 a.m., booming, banging, like we have young kids, newborns, stuff like that. So this really has been a stressful living situation, and now this is adding more stressful living to the quality of life, which I know that, the zoning law has special permit to not harm public health, safety, or welfare, of neighborhood communities.
I mean, the planning board can't do anything about vandals and criminals, but you did mention one thing. If there's dumpsters and trash being moved at times that are inappropriate, we can ask the applicant to stipulate that the dumpsters will be emptied within a certain time frame. But I'm also confused. Do you not want the 10-foot wall there, or is the
No, the concern's not having the 10-foot wall, but the concern is that the wall stops at one point and you don't have any sort of travel along the other side where you're gonna have where the other building is. And so since it doesn't completely surround the entire perimeter, it sort of leaves an opening for, because there's more traffic. You could have more locations where somebody could be, because this new building has a so to speak gap in between the building and the wall. You could have individuals, just between the buildings and the wall, and then there's an easy way to just travel right around the wall.
Correct. And we do have people, again, also that walk.
Be about 30 more seconds, guys.
Yeah, no problem. I'll be done in 15. There are people that walk through our neighborhood to get to these businesses, the ones that are already here in this existing building. And just to reiterate again, we do have an access way for emergency vehicles where cars that are backed up on Turnpike Street like to turn into our community as well. So if this is a new building, it takes a while for Google Maps to update the location, and they can say you're right here and turning into our community, which then can lead to hopefully not, but vehicle accidents with us coming out of our driveways, or us and our neighbors and their young kids being hurt or harmed.
Thank you very much for your comments, both of you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate the board's time.
Thank you. Stephanie, do we have any other public participation?
No, I don't see any.
I see one more person that's an attendee. That's not this matter.
It's Kathleen Weeks, and I'm wondering if it's part of Alan's. I don't know, because I think it comes up periodically.
Yeah. No, she likes to listen in on the meetings.
Yes.
Very good. All right. Well, I don't think we're going to vote tonight, guys. My request and suggestion to Azu and Nick is that you consider the comments about the lighting that we've provided, as well as the no left hand turn sign, and submit some revisions. And I'd like to see a revised photometric plan as well. Okay. If you could submit that. And then, we'll take it up at the next meeting. If you guys can be ready for the next meeting, it's really entirely up to you. I think I'd like to put you on for the next meeting. And if you guys need another, an extension to the following meeting, that's fine. Just let us know.
Yeah, I think, Mr. Chairman, thank you. Should be able to, those are very specific directives. We will be able to provide the signage so that it's very clear. And then I'll show you the line of sight. So we will be able to add the no left turn and to supplement the stop sign that's for the vehicles exiting the site. And then we will take a look at changing the lighting and then revising photometric to make sure that it captures the light within the site and nothing is shedding beyond the site. And then we should be able to do that within a week. And then so we would like to be able to be on the very next available agenda, Mr. Chairman, if that's okay.
So
That sounds great.
could I just make one comment?
Yes.
Which is that we will need everything by Monday.
The addition of those items, if you look at how rapidly we responded to those cut sheets, you will have them by Monday, Ms. Danielson.
Thank you.
So when is the next meeting?
Suzanne?
It's the 28th.
The 28th.
But we would need
Okay.
things on Monday to review.
Yeah, we will have that. We will have that.
21st.
Correct.
by
All right,
21st.
I will accept the
Yes.
motion.
We are going to continue the public hearing. Motion to continue the public hearing to 28 July.
Second, Kid.
Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none. Weeks.
Aye.
Wolf.
Aye.
Kidd.
Aye.
Kedem. That was an aye. Stetson's an aye as well.
Bob, I just want to add one thing for Camille. I did put in the chat the email address, which you can send the photos to.
Thank you. Okay, thank you. We'll see you next time.
Thank you very much.
Good night.
Thank you for your
very
time.
much.
Thank
Have
you,
a good
folks.
night.
Good night.
Thank you.
All right, Stephanie, next up is the request to release the lots 5, 9, 11, and 20 over at Sawmill Village.
This is a pretty standard request. We're holding the lots as the roadway and the development gets completed. These are units that have sold. They're getting ready to close and they need the lots to be released.
Your recommendation is that we say yes?
Absolutely.
Do we need a formal motion on this?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
I will accept a motion.
Motion to release the lots. What were the numbers? I'm sorry.
5, 9, 11, and 20.
5, 9, 11, and 20. Wolf.
Second, Kid.
Further discussion? Hearing and seeing none. Weeks.
Aye.
Wolf.
Aye.
Kidd.
Aye.
Kedem.
Aye.
And Stetson's an aye as well. Right. So the next item is a follow-up to the zoning discussion that we had with some of the Queesit District property owners. And I wanted to get your all thoughts about how that went and what, if anything, we want to do. Because I think if we're going to do anything, we've got to start to make some decisions fairly quickly, particularly if we're going to try to get it on in the fall or next spring. My personal opinion is that I didn't realize that there were such significant limitations to the sewer down there. For some reason in my mind, I thought it spanned the entire district, and I don't know why I thought that. And so, I don't want to waste everyone's time here unless we feel like there's a good opportunity to do something worthwhile that's going to make sense. That's my 2 cents about what I heard, but I welcome everyone's thoughts.
I'm going to jump in briefly if no one
Anybody.
else is.
Anyone jump
So
in?
I was surprised by that too. That sewer is what people thought was the most, because it is available. I mean, as the McLaughlins pointed out, there is a cost to bringing it down. And right now the town's not looking to expand it without assistance from the developers. But and I know that they were considering and having conversations, but I didn't realize the significant impact it had on potential redevelopment there.
I heard the same thing. Sewer was the primary, and I think I heard a secondary undercurrent in today's interest rate environment. It's getting very difficult to, build apartments and have positive cash flow.
Ramos says we should review setback limitations and see if those can facilitate development. I mean, that was one of the things that I certainly heard towards the end of the session. Is this sort of any little thing could help concept, which, of course, I agree. My concern about only doing something like that, almost, and I certainly am not I'm not one way or the other on this, but it just seems like a minor step. If we were going to do something down there, I think we would maybe want to explore something a bit broader based. That could certainly include looking at setback. But if I'm hearing this correctly, that alone is not going to do anything down there. And if that's the case, and you guys can convince me. I mean, I'm not, like I said, I don't feel strongly one way or the other. I just don't want to waste anyone's time or spin wheels, because if that's the case, I mean, why not take a look at the industrial park? Because we are going to be getting sewer down there. Maybe we want to think about looking at the zoning in that district to see if there's anything that can be done there. It's certainly a thought in my mind when you start seeing, you've got at least a couple of Class C office buildings down there. And if you're going to end up, I know this is a longer term lead because the sewer is going to take some time to get in over there, but maybe there's an opportunity in that area for some more significant development.
Is there a height restriction now that limits the size of the building they can put on a piece of land?
Right now, it's only commercial and industrial back there, right, Stephanie?
In the industrial park?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you couldn't even do multifamily back there, even if you wanted to.
Yeah.
Right.
No, I was just thinking about commercial buildings. I think there's some 4-story buildings back there. I've seen there's a medical building there that has pretty tall stature.
Yeah, let me just. I mean,
I just kind of feel like we keep running into roadblock. We wanted to look out on Roberts Drive, and everybody was complaining about the traffic. We've looked at Five Corners. It's the same thing. We're looking over at Queesit. It's not enough sewer. Well, maybe we ought to look back here. Oh.
So in the industrial area, and I don't think the industrial park really has a different zoning other than it is a medical marijuana overlay district, but it's only three stories above grade. And then remember when the board just was presented with that, it was actually the Board of Appeals for the variance on the front yard setback, because right now the front yard setback is 40 feet. And, it's a good point that's a significant setback when you're talking about an industrial area. And not that you don't want it to look attractive, but you can go drive through and many of the buildings have grass and trees right along the roadway. You don't need to have a 40-foot buffer to make it look good and aesthetically pleasing.
I mean, if they had sewer, maybe going from 3 to 5 or 6 stories might be helpful, because now they can get a better density.
Yeah. Anyway, just throwing out some ideas. We don't have to, belabor the point tonight, but I was just curious if anyone else had any other impressions or thoughts, ideas.
I mean, I was just surprised that when I asked him about the results of the study that was talking more about road aesthetics and look and feel and town, look that they didn't seem to react at all that that was a limitation. So, no.
Well, and it's some of it in my mind, just having seen some of the development that I've seen, particularly, I know I mentioned it last time in Cambridge, is that you don't necessarily do the zoning for the people that are there right now, that are the owners, because they're obviously comfortable in what they've got. What you do with the zoning is you try to make it valuable enough for them to move on so that someone else who has a different vision for the property to come in and do it. But then you do, of course, run into the issue of space, and septic looms large in that scenario, and interest rates and construction costs, and that's real.
Yep.
But with the industrial park, there is a decent amount of land back there, and if we are getting sewer back there, I don't know.
And some of that land is the land that's taken up by the septic system that's there.
Right.
Do we know the timeline on the sewer?
Longer lead.
They take forever.
I mean, it will be a few years. We just we're in the process of submitting an application for the Economic Development Administration, which is federal funding, and it's a multi-step process. The first step is we're working with Old Colony Planning Council. They have hired someone who used to work at SERPED, a fellow named Don Sullivan, who did this when he was with SERPED, which is the regional planning agency in Taunton. They service southeastern Massachusetts. So you file an application with the state. There's an FFIO office. It's Federal Funds Infrastructure, I want to say oversight, and to seek matching funds for the amount that we're seeking from the feds for the design work. The application to the state went in last week. As soon as we hear back from them, which I'm being told we feel very confident that that will be awarded, then we submit and finalize our application to the EDA. And as soon as those funds become available, I'm told that's a very quick turnaround time, like 35 days. And then the design work would begin. We'd go out with an RFP for the designer. And as soon as the designer was brought on board, the work for the design would begin. And then we'd start looking for construction funds.
It's not an if, it's more of a when at this point. Yeah. I mean, and I think that's okay given what we're talking about. I mean, most of the time with zoning, you're not talking about a snap of a finger and transforming an area.
Right.
I mean, from my perspective, maybe we shouldn't be rushing into anything right now, and maybe we should take a closer look in this area since we're now getting this additional feedback. And we've gotten a lot of feedback in a lot of different areas of town over the past 5, 6, 7 years. Wouldn't mind taking a look back there and seeing if, maybe there's something transformational that we could do. Amos commented setbacks and other limitations should be reviewed for the industrial park as well, and industrial park usage. I think that's a good point. I don't think it has to be necessarily. I mean, maybe it does, but I don't think it has to be the industrial park. I mean, I think with sewer, maybe that's not the highest and best use for some of those parcels back there. I don't know. Well, food for thought. If anyone has any parting comments, feel free to share. Otherwise, we can move on for tonight. But certainly I was hoping to get more enthusiasm at that meeting than we received. And that's not to say anybody's to blame. It's just it's too bad. All right. Well, moving on. Meeting minutes. Any comments, motions?
Motion to approve the meeting minutes. Well,
Second? Weeks?
Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none. Weeks.
Aye.
Kidd.
Aye.
Cadam. It's an aye. Wolf. Oh.
Aye.
And Stetson's an aye as well. All right. Chair updates. We really kind of covered my thoughts on the zoning discussion. Stephanie, permitting audit.
Yeah, so we're getting very, very close. I wanted to let everybody know that, putting some final touches on it. You know, I trying to get a final review done over the next couple weeks, and then I'll send it out to the stakeholders, which would include members of the board, for feedback and comments.
Excellent. We will be looking
some of
forward
the
to that.
recommendations we're already implementing. You will notice that I included the checklist for the application review. And what we're going to do is earlier in the process, as soon as the application comes in, Suzanne will go through and check off everything that's been completed, anything that hasn't been completed. The application will be sent back to the applicant to say, we need these items before we can even put it on the agenda. So that was one of the recommendations, to kind of have a commitment to applicants that if they send a complete application in, that we can move it forward much quicker through the board. The other thing that I would like to see happen is that I think I've mentioned this before, years ago when we were working primarily with Woodard and Curran as the stormwater peer reviewer, they would do a once a month office hours, and developers could stop by with their projects and have them do a preliminary review of the stormwater. Over time, we were getting fewer and fewer people to a point where nobody was coming. So we discontinued that, but I'd like to be able to set up a process where an applicant could get in touch with me or the engineer. We'd set it up so that they could deposit funds and we could get the peer reviewer in to do a preliminary review. Because I think, as you all know and have seen, stormwater review can really be a holdup on a project. And the more feedback we give them up front, the quicker it can get through the permitting process.
All right. Well, we'll be looking forward to the report. All right. I think that's it for tonight. Who wants to take us home tonight?
Motion to adjourn.
Second, Kidd.
Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none. Weeks.
Aye.
Kidd.
Aye.
Wolf.
aye.
Kedem. That's an aye. And Stetson's an aye as well. And because we can't hear Amos, I'm going to have to say good night and good luck.
Good night.
All right. See you in a couple
Good night,
weeks.
everybody.
Good night.
Guys.
Good night.